Hello and welcome to r/entitledparents. M demands a trauma/comfort teddy, fakes trauma to get one. XL Hi guys. Like I told you all last time, my wife is an EMT and shares stories in our group app. She said I could translate/post whichever story I think people will enjoy, as long as I don't share certain info. BTW, one of our friends is a bus driver who has some real gems too. She told me to share whichever story of hers I want as well, if people would be interested. I'm bored at home today, was supposed to go somewhere, and have the day off for that, but it was cancelled due to corona. I actually forgot about it, and showed up to work for no reason. F***C me right. Anyway, I'm home, so I dug through the chat logs instead. This one I really enjoyed in a cringy way, I hope you will too. On mobile. Translated story since English is our third language. I tried to write it out, so it's easier to read. BC most of it was a huojanga fueled rant haha. Info biop. This happened in the summer of 2019, at a large festival. They have a tent set up at the festival, with an ambulance parked outside with direct passage to the road for emergencies. Also, we are not the only country to have these, but for anyone who has never heard of them, trauma or comfort teddies are soft toys that are given to children to distract them from something bad that happened. All emergency services carry them. It's often a brown bear with a bow, but our ambulance service has a bunch of EMT coat-eating polar bear plushes as well. Cute as heck. I want one for my kid, of course. They also had a few of the standard EMT human dolls, which are way less appealing. I was there during this day, but was nowhere near when it went down. Starring fake names: Senna, my wife; Rob, her work partner; patient unwell feeling father of a 5-year-old girl; M, entitled mother; Ek, entitled kid. Told from her perspective. Translated/written out by me. So we are really enjoying our gig at the festival. Tent with a wide door, a huge fan, comfy chairs in front under a canopy, live music, cheerful people and local vendors bringing us treats/drinks throughout the day. Very nice. 10/10 sign me up next year. Nothing really serious happening, few scrapes and bruises. One man needing 2 stitches which we could do on site, but the few others was nothing an ice pack or bandage didn't fix. Later on in the day the sun broke through, and temperatures rose fast, causing more overheating issues. Most of these are fixed with some cooling down in front of the fan with wet towels, and drinking oars, oral rehydration salts, water, of which the adult version tastes pretty bad. Imagine mild seawater that an overripe orange has been boiled in for about 5 minutes before being cooled. Salty and tangy, yuck. A man nearly passed out. His daughter, Aish, was spooked and upset because her dad just sort of stumbled to the ground scraping his knee down as well. We gave her an EMT bear to keep her distracted from the bloody knee etc. and cleaned/wrapped him up. He is sitting in our tent, drinking s'mores with some ice packs in crevices and a wet towel in his neck, quickly feeling better because the stuff plus cooling works wonders. Hez sitting near the entrance, his daughter off to the side under the canopy. We are next to a tent handing out regular bottled water. A nice looking woman in a romper suit approaches the free water tent. She gets a bottle for her and her child, about 9, who is busy on a phone. She was all smiles and friendly chatter, and asked if she could get 2 more for her husband and daughter who were sitting at a bench elsewhere, or so she said. It's against policy, but the woman was nice, so the guy handing out bottles handed her 2 more. The boy looks up from his phone, sees the little girl sitting with her EMT plushie, and the following happens. Ek mumbles something to his mom and points at the little girl. M, excuse me, ma'am. Senna, hello. Can I help you? M, where are those bear dolls located? And how much are they? Points at the little girl. Senna, oh sorry, those are not something we sell. Their comfort teddies only given to distressed children. The girl was very occupied talking to her plushie and didn't notice any of this, but the dad did look over. They do sell handmade plushes all across the festival, so I didn't think too much of it right away. Well, my boy wants one, and it's his special day, so he should get one. Rob, oh little dude, is it your birthday? Rob said since we had so many for, that he won't have minded giving the little guy one, if it was his birthday or something. We only handed out that one so far. Eck, no, it's just my special day. Saturday is my day. Rob, oh. That's nice. Eck, it's my day. I get to pick what we do. I want a plushie. Give me one. Rob, ho there lit dude, it's not very nice to yell at people and demand she. Stuff, slight smile because he almost misspoke to a kid. Eck, I am not little, you're just an old fart, don't laugh at me, asterisk no idea how else to translate that insult, but it was something a 9y/o should not say. The boy was red-faced and stomping his feet, only half of what he said even made sense. Now Eck, shush, be nice to the doctor or you're not getting a bear. Senna, ma'am, we don't just hand these out, I'm sorry. He's not getting a bear. From this moment on Eck kept whining and pulling his mom's sleeve. Annoyed tone, I was not talking to, or about you, I said doctor not nurse. Rob, we are no doctors, neither of us. We are both EMTs. I'm going to ask you to please move along, this is not a spot for socializing, and we have a patient. Dramatic sigh plus eye roll. Fine, I'll leave in a minute. Excuse me mister, address to patient. Patient, grumbles but doesn't really say much, and glares at her. Could you sell me that bear for my son? Patient, looking about 110% done. No, get out of here you entitled toad, go buy a bear at the festival. Wow, rude, so unfair, the girl gets a free bear and my boy does not, sexist. Yes. That's what it is. Rob, stepping in between, whoa okay lady, time you left. Please leave before I call security. Some very nasty and snarky remarks were made, some stupid offers made for a bear, she got personal, and I'm not repeating this. Comments about appearances, her attitude got worse by the second though. Senna, last warning lady, we are not going to stand here and take your insults. Rob, just make the call please. Stands her ground for a while longer, crossing her arms, Eck still whining. She realized from Rob's unimpressed face she wasn't getting anywhere. And as soon as he actually started calling security she stomped off, physically dragging Eck away, who was in full tantrum mode by now. Telling him he could buy any plushie he wants from the stands. All well ends well. Nope. About 30 minutes later security comes along supporting a woman who fainted. Lo and behold. It's her son trailing behind, no formally mentioned sister/father in sight. Patient had left earlier feeling fine. Oh I feel so bad, I'm dizzy. And so sweaty. I'm overheated. I'll have a heat stroke. Her face was wet, but she by no means sweaty, you could see it drying on the spot, and her clothing was dry. She was not pale nor red, just had a wet face and moaned a lot. Now I'm not one to just say a person is lying, you're not feeling what they're feeling. Even if it's obvious, you treat them as if they are speaking the truth, as long as no harm can come from it. So, we treated her as we would anyone overheated. Senna, please sit down here and drink this. Can we call your husband for you? Hands her a glass of oars. My husband? Why? He's not here. Takes one sip. OMG, that is vile. Why are you giving me this? Senna, ma'am, you mentioned your husband and daughter earlier, that's why I'm asking. Mumbles something about them already having left, and looks at her cup with a face, as if we poisoned it. Rob, ma'am, please finish that drink, it's very important for your health, if you are overheating. Makes another face, but continues drinking oars. Eck, who was looking around the tent the second they came in, and spotted two small crates labeled toys. Senna grabbed cool packs, and asks to lift up her arms a bit. Is this really important? They're so cold. Senna, it's very important, or are you not overheating anymore? No I am, I feel so bad. I just don't like cold things, that's all. Senna, sorry about that, when you're no longer overheated you can take them off. Senna puts a soaking wet towel, maybe a bit wetter than needed, in her neck, water immediately running down her entire romper. What are you doing? You're getting any wet and cold. Senna, well yeah, that's kinda the point. Sweet smile. Meanwhile, opens crate of toys. Rob, what are you doing? I want a toy. My mommy is sick. I should get a toy. Rob, toys are for little kids. I thought you said you were a big kid. I am, but I'm still 9. I want a toy. You're being mean. Starts to cry tantrum style once again. Wow, quality care here. I'm sick and you won't even give my boy a plushie? Rob, fine, goes to crate and grabs an EMT doll, not the polar bear. Gloats until he sees which doll Rob grabbed. Flips / all the shit / and tries to punch him. Rob grabs the kid's hand to stop him from throwing punches. Kid, you better stop it. You're not getting anything with this attitude. Stepping up to them, soaking wet, cold packs falling on the ground. Shrieking, don't you touch my baby. Why are your hands on him? Don't touch, point him. Pervert. Rob, tell your kid to stop hitting me, and I'll let him go. He wasn't hitting you, and even if he was, he's 9 year an ADULTF*CKING, man up. You gay slur. Rob lets go of the kid, who immediately starts punching him again. Security walks into the tent drawn by the screeches, and grabbed her kid to stop him. She immediately went into a tall tale where Rob tried to hurt her kid, and the boy cried about sore wrists after she pointed them out. They made such a scene that the guards ended up apologizing for her bad experience in an attempt to cool the situation. No cameras present in the tent, so her word vs our word. We refuse to apologize to this insane woman, despite her demanding it. She ended up getting a bunch of meal and drink vouchers, and asking again for a bear. The nerve of this ******. We stood by our words. Plushes are for traumatized kids and her son already has one. That she got vouchers was already completely unfair. She obviously protested, but the end was cut short by a boy being carried into the tent bawling his eyes out. He had tripped on a tent wire and hurt his arm pretty bad. The guards escorted a protesting out of the tent, while Rob rushed to give the boy and his older sister a polar bear still in full sight of him/Ek. With the sweetest smile. I'll never forget her look of pure hatred. Thanks for reading. Entitled Parent. Try Entitled Family. Reposted to spread the word. If you already read this, look in comment. Mandatory phone user. So sorry for formatting. This is probably going to be a long one. But to explain some of this, I must add that I was adopted by my grandparents on my dad's side, so when I say mom, it's my grandmother, pop is my grandfather, and since I'm the oldest of my actual siblings, any reference to older brother or older sister are actually aunts and uncles. Now that mess is cleared partially, let's get on with this rant. If we go back to when I was 13, nothing really bad happened, other than every time I got grounded it was always a month or 2 despite how little the act was. I had also been grounded an entire year for being caught playing my Game Boy at midnight. Fast forward to about 15, and I was the one being forced to do all the house cleaning. I would come home from school, spend the next 2 hours cleaning, then be able to relax for only an hour, before I had to take care of 10 people worth of dishes. This would take anywhere from an hour to 2 depending on how lucky I was on how stuck on the stains were. I would have no help, and no appreciation for the things I did, just being yelled at if I didn't do it right. My mom had on a few occasions gut punched me for not doing chores correctly. Now this was just my mom's, grandmother's, doing. My dad wasn't hard on me at all, in fact he was much more relaxed. However, I had always noticed that he always put my youngest brother first in everything. To the point he never bought me anything, while buying him an Xbox 360, and whenever those broke, replacement ones. When the Xbox One came out, I actually asked my dad about getting his old Xbox 360, since I knew he would be buying the Xbox One. Nope, he instead sold his Xbox 360 and bought himself and my youngest brother's Xbox Ones. Now, when I was in 10th grade, I was going through some serious depression due to being treated like shit by family. It was also because I was remembering some of the things my birth mom did to me that my brain had blacked out previously. My family had no interest in helping me, just repeating things they told me over and over. My mom in particular just kept telling me to talk to God about it. Okay, cool, but I need somebody who is gonna talk back. I knew I couldn't talk to my uncle about it because all he ended up doing was ranting about how my generation was stupid and think that everything on TV and video games is real. Either that or he would end up mimicking everyone else who I tried to talk to. Thus I ended up turning to drugs to help me cope. I had actually planned on taking a lethal amount of the stuff due to how bad my depression became. However, before I could do that, my mom had found the stuff in my school backpack. She didn't ask any questions or anything, just threatened to call the police. Before she did, she actually decided to instead put me through hard labor for a week. I couldn't eat anything else but a slice of bread and water. I couldn't sleep but for a few hours, 3 to 4 if I was lucky, and most of all, I was treated like I was just the scum on their boots. This didn't exactly help with my mental situation, but things somewhat turned to normal after that week. Though that didn't last long, since the family friend that was living with us at the time decided to over-exaggerate the smell of the cleaners I was using and accused me of huffing chemicals to my mom. Of course my mom believed her because why not? Thus we set the stage for my worst day to this date. I had woke up to go to school that day, and my oldest brother, not older than me, and he has a list of mental and physical disabilities, started yelling at me for reasons unknown to me. I had eventually told him to shut up due to both not understanding him, and I was trying to get ready for school. Well, my mom came from her room and started accusing me of huffing, which I denied, since I honestly wasn't. Of course she called me a liar and brought me to the back porch, where she continued her accusations while I simply tried to hold back tears. Flash forward to when I was in school. I was in class doing my work when the vice principal came in and asked me to come with him. When I tried grabbing my bag, he simply told me he would carry it. I rather knew then that I was in serious trouble. He took me to the principal's office where the school officer, the principal, and a guidance counselor were. Now the school had several guidance counselors due to how many students were going to school there, but the one that was in that room was not mine. The one that was mine very much knew what I was going through, and I still to this day believe he would have been the only one defending me. The whole group of them then started trying to get me to confess to huffing chemicals, due to my mom deciding to call them and tell them all about it. The principal tried turning everything I said into a confession, and even stated something about protecting his 2 daughters from me, despite a literal sexual predator being in the school, but he was protected due to being disabled. After they saw I was giving no ground on that, they changed the subject to my siblings, whom they claimed that my mom said were afraid of me. Of course this hurt me a lot, but they continued grinding me on that and asking questions. Eventually I just shut down and stopped talking. Then the principal said the one sentence that sealed my hatred for him forever: "Get him out of here. We are not getting anything else out of him." I was sent back to class, but the rest of the day flashed by. I was just done. I didn't care anymore, nor did I want to. When I went back home, I just simply did my chores and sat on the couch. My mom and siblings were hiding in her room. When my pop came home, he slapped me across the face hard enough to send my glasses flying. Not the first, nor the last time this happened, and told me to never make a fist at my mom again. Of course I figured this must have happened that morning, when I had all my focus on not crying. That was my breaking point, the point I decided nobody cared, nor wanted to care. I went to the bathroom, closed the door, and turned out the light. I just laid on the floor crying silently, and I had full intentions of chugging the entire gallon of bleach that was in the bathroom closet. Just when I decided to do it, something flashed at the corner of my eye, and I suddenly felt okay. Not happy, nor sad, just okay. Of course the way I was treated never changed, and even now at 20 years old my family still expect me to wait on them hand and foot. They also don't understand the last thing I want to do after working my 10-hour job is come home and do chores. I even pay them $100 a week just to live in basically the storage room of the house. Though they still treat me like I'm 15 and take away my Xbox and PlayStation, both of which I paid for. They also threaten to take my phone, which I paid for and am paying for. Right now I'm trying to do what I need to do so I can move out, and little do they know I have zero intentions of ever coming back. I also will be going no contact with them, and I have full intentions of calling the law if they try coming to wherever I'm living. Thank you if you made it through this rant. I have more stories and specific scenarios I glossed over. If you all want to hear those, feel free to tell me. You are all wonderful people. M demands I not walk my dog down her street because her dog tried to attack my dog and myself. I'm an avid dog walker. I walk my dog, a 50-pound shepherd mix, along the same route around my neighborhood twice a day. He's a well-trained boy and I usually walk him off leash unless it's dark. The almost 3 years I've had him, I've seen snakes and other dogs have attacked him, but nothing like this. So here's the cast: me, a 19-year-old scrawny white boy, A, my very good boy M, the entitled mom of 3 entitled daughters, and her shit dog Ed, her evil dog, an old 75-pound white lab Ek, M's entitled kids. So I walk my dog around 10:30 tonight because it's June and during the day the sidewalk can burn A's feet. Remember to do the hand test. If it's too hot to put your hand on the sidewalk, it's too hot for your dog's paws. I had him on the leash though because he's black and I can't see him well at night. Now there is a family that lives down one of the main roads in my neighborhood that's along my route. They are the definition of privileged white people. M and her daughters own Ed, and they let him off leash when they sit in their front yard multiple hours a day. Which a lot of people in my neighborhood do. My family does this too during the day. The problem is Ed is extremely aggressive and territorial. If you even walk on the other side of the street he will run up to you and bark or even attack you. He's bitten little kids walking by and other dogs. Now of course Emek and Ed happened to be out when I wanted to walk him tonight. I just wanted to have a nice night walk. So I see them out about 4 houses away and I cross to the other side of the street. But then Ed comes barreling our way and barking his lungs out. I wouldn't be surprised if my family could hear it back home. A is barking back because he's a shepherd and instinctively is trying to protect me. Before M could get over there I'm trying to pull A's leash away, but Ed will just not leave us alone. Then Ed starts growling and showing teeth and is trying to bite me, and A by this time M and Ek have ran over there and grabbed Ed before anyone got hurt. I was fine but shaken up. I had headphones in and had interest in talking to M, but then she gets right up behind me and taps me on the fucking shoulder. The audacity. I take them out and she says to me, "I'm so sorry, can you not walk A down this way anymore? I know you don't live down this way and you'll just have to come back around." The fucking audacity. So I say Ed just tried to attack me and A. If he's aggressive, why do you have him off leash? Then X says he's fine unless someone walks by. I like to play fetch with him sometimes. So then I say I'll turn around tonight, but I'm not going to change my walking habits because you don't know how to train a dog. It was mostly dark, but I could see their stunned faces. M starts screaming at me saying that A actually is the aggressor and not Ed, and saying they're calling animal control. I just turned around and walked home at that point. Looks like I actually have a call to make to animal control tomorrow. Some entitled stories. Disclaimer, I have 3 stories, but I will post them separately, so it won't be a very long post. This is a 1/3. My girlfriend's best friend, we'll call her A, paid us a visit. She is moving out, and until she finds a place we accept to let her live with us. Last Friday we were telling stories, and A tells the next story, where a mother, we will call her M, and her twin daughters come at a place of work, a not so popular restaurant, where she was working as a waitress. Other characters: boss friends, the restaurant boss, the security guard, A's girlfriend. It was almost the close time, and A was supposed to clean up after the last people and leave, but another group came in, friends with her boss. They would come sometime, stay up late, play cards, drink, etc. So her boss tells A she can go home, and that she, the boss, will take care of cleaning and everything else. But A asks her boss if she can stay too, and invite her girlfriend over. She wanted to show her the new place where she works and this would be the best time. Her boss was very happy to hear, so she told her to do so, but as payback A was supposed to clean the place up. Both agree. A calls her girlfriend and wait for her to come. The boss and her friends play card ATM and everything goes well. I keep making some talk and bring some food and more drinks to the boss friends. A's girlfriend comes and A begins her tour. After a half of hour, M and TDs come in. Her and her girlfriend head to the main door and here start the conflict. A: I'm sorry but we are closed at the moment. Could you come back tomorrow? M: well I can see you are not close. There are people back there. A: well you see ma'am, those are the boss friends. They are here with the boss, but the restaurant is closed for clients. M: stop bullshitting me. You don't want us in because we are not gay like you? You sick fucks. M was screaming, so the boss hears her and comes over. Boss: excuse me, what is going on here? A: I was trying to explain that the restaurant is close, but this lady would not understand. M: I know it's not closed. The lights are on, there are people inside, and the doors are unlocked. Boss: well, these people are friends with me, and this is my restaurant, and it's closed for clients until tomorrow morning. M looks like she understand and makes her way to the door, but in a second, like God light her mind, she comes back in and say, my daughters are gay too. The daughters were kids, maybe 10 to 11. Both A and her boss look confused. A: alright. That doesn't change anything, we are still closed. M: what? But we are alright to enter, we are good clients, so we can enter. And with that said, M takes ground and rush to the main room, leaving the girls behind. During explosion, flying cars, and everything M was thinking of at the moment, she stuck her leg into the mat and falls. Now that her main plan failed, she takes plan B like nothing happened. She turns to A and her boss and say, M, I'm friend with you too. Can't you remember? Boss: lady, you are crazy, I'm ringing security. This was bullshit, because the security guard had more or less of 10 to 12 hours till he begins his job. M cover was blow away. Now as a real secret agent slash assassin slash hitman that she is, she takes on plan C. She looks all the way until she spots A's girlfriend. She makes her way to her, and she throws herself to the ground, starting to cry and scream that A hit her and that she will call the cops. Boss was sure that the crazy lady would not give up, so she called the cops. The police and the security chef came in. The security chef takes two officers to the security room to check the video footage, while one cop asked the boss what happened. The cop was almost busting out in laughs, but he keep it for himself. After that, he turns to M, that looks at him and says, M, they attacked me. Cop: no they didn't. M, they didn't let us in because we are not gay. Cop: they didn't let you in because it's close. M, but this is my restaurant. At this moment everyone can tell she lost it. After checking the cameras, cops come back and take her away. Boss say that she will go there tomorrow morning to sort things out. So yeah, this is it for story 1. We'll post the next one tomorrow. Revenge is a dish best served cold, and this happened in about 2004 when I finished my teaching certificate and started working in an elementary school. Even though the town is in coastal California, the school was very poor compared to others in the district. I was put in charge of the gifted and talented GATE classes for a small stipend in addition to the reading remediation classes I taught. We had zero funding and I needed to fundraise to do activities. The majority of the kids were English language learners, and I was able to use testing scores as well as non-verbal testing to determine potential in non-English speaking kids. It was a great group and I loved working with kids who were dismissed by their teachers for not understanding the class that they were, in fact, very smart and capable. The awesome principal gave us lots of ideas about fundraising possibilities and we first went with selling ice cream floats on Friday. I put out the word to parents for donations, and was all set. Friday comes. Almost the end of school. I'm waiting for the donation of root beer and the ep walks in empty-handed. She is a white upper middle class woman who has been very braggadocious all year about her great kids. It seems that the 5th grade teacher had been selling ice cream on Fridays to exclusively benefit his class, and was mad that anyone horning on his exclusive Friday space. The principal had given us permission to fundraise, but he was not having it. Out of respect for Mr. Butthead, I will not be bringing you any supplies, she said. I was stunned. I started crying, but she just stuck up her nose and turned around. I told my coworker, and she said she would set up and start if I bolted to the store and back. We could start just a few minutes late. I bolted as balty as I could bolt, through tears, and made it back in time for a swarm of slightly confused kids. I discussed it with the principal, and she was furious at Ep and the butthead teacher. She told me he had run the ship long enough, and from now on there would be a Friday sign up that she would approve personally. Now for the revenge. I was still in tears and felt broken down. I told my dad, and he was furious too. He's a bit of an dad, but no one messes with his baby girl, except him. We talked about it, and he hatched a generous plan to, at least, not let the butthead win for another week. I discussed it with my principal the next day and her eyes lit up. We are starting a new program called Character Counts at the school. This will be perfect. So the next Friday, everyone in the school got a free ice cream because, as the slip of paper that was given with every pop said, Character Counts, a very generous community member has donated ice cream to you in the spirit of generosity. Generosity is the first of our 4 character traits we will focus on this month. Be good to each other. I help hand out to every student in the school, and were super excited that they could save their little bit of money for another day. I ate a pop and glared at Mr. Butthead. I guess it's more of petty revenge, but it was to Ep's a parent and teacher. Best feeling ever. And screw you, Kathy. Entitled Mom asks me to give her one of my dogs. Okay, so, up until this happened to me, I thought most of the entitled parents stories were bullshit. But this happened to me, and I've started believing a lot more of the stories here. This happened to me a good few months ago. My landlord was selling the house that me and my family lived in, and we couldn't find a house that we could afford to rent before we had to move out, so we ended up moving in with my aunt. My aunt lives pretty close to the center of a small town, 8k people, and there's a gate to the back garden beside her house. You can see, somewhat, into the garden through it. My aunt has 2 dogs, tiny chihuahuas, and I have one, a beagle/Dalmatian mix, Spee Chubby, so we had 3 dogs living in the house. When the dogs are bored they love standing at that little gate and barking at people who walk past. One day I was home alone. My sister was at school and my parents and aunt were working, so I was in the kitchen, cooking dinner for my family, while the dogs ran circles around the garden and barked at everything that moved. This also sucked, because there was a vet's office directly beside us, and the vet's parking was behind the office, meaning that anyone who brings any animals into the vet could be seen from our garden. Which means it could be seen by the dogs too, and every single time they saw anyone bring in an animal they went crazy. This meant that it was completely normal for the dogs to be barking like mad. I heard a knock on the door, and I assumed it was my dad coming home from work early, or coming to pick up something that he left at home. I usually lock the door when I'm home alone, and he often forgets his keys. The door wasn't locked this time, but sometimes he rings the doorbell without even checking if the door is open. I unlock the door, and there stood a lady, I'll call her Ep, with her kid in tow. The dogs were standing at the gate, absolutely losing their minds that someone dared to stand in front of their house. Then, the following convo happens. Paraphrased, this conversation happened a good few months ago, maybe even around a year ago, so I don't remember it very well. Hi, sorry for bothering you. I had shouted just come in at them in Polish earlier, since I thought it was my dad. She probably thought I was getting angry about someone ringing the doorbell. Her apologizing for bothering me made me think she was gonna be nice. Me, oh, hello. I saw you have puppies in your garden. They're very nice. Me, oh haha, yeah they are. My daughter really liked them. Me, oh, I'm glad. How many dogs do you have? Me, There's 3. Could you give us one? Me, what? I'm sorry, no. It looks like you have a lot more than 3 dogs in there. You could give us one. She's smiling, but her eyes are starting to look a lot less friendly. Me, no. There's just the 3. Are you sure? If you're going to be selling the puppies anyways, you can give one to us. Me, sorry miss, but they're all grown dogs. I have no puppies to give you. Goodbye, starts closing door. Goodbye. They're very nice dogs, she says as she starts walking away. The ending of the conversation was awkward, though it wasn't this abrupt. I don't remember exactly how the ending of the conversation went though. She didn't drag it out nearly as long as she could have, but that last "they're very nice dogs" freaked me out so much that I kept the dogs inside for the next few days and only let them into the garden while I was standing there watching them. It was also crazy to have some lady knock on my door and try to convince me to give her one of my dogs. This one isn't too crazy, but I still thought I'd share. Thanks for reading, hope you have a good day. Edit, fixed formatting, I'm on mobile and didn't realize it was fucked up until way later. Epsly because they don't want to watch their kids match. This is not my story but my cousin's, told to me by my dad. It happened just a couple of days ago. Also things have opened up completely here, it is relevant for later. English is not my first language now. A little bit of BG. My cousin bought last year a small shop that was next to some fields where teams go to practice. There are also pools there that are for teams, but also open to public. Everything but the shop is public property. He manages it with my dad, who has some experience with this sort of stuff. The shop sells coffee, soft drinks, snacks and some food that you find in cafes. Generally a pretty nice place. Now since things have opened up, the teams are holding matches there. A couple of days ago they were holding a beach volley match there. Now the shop, as far as I know, was open for the kids in case they needed anything later but also the parents. But no parents came. It was kinda weird, but my cousin and the person working there just shrugged it off as whatever. Maybe they were at the bleachers, which are located above the shop as they are part of the building. Nope. Once the match ended, some of the kids went by the shop. They know my cousin, so they spoke to him. It went something like this: team, why didn't you let our parents watch our match? Cousin, what do you mean? We were open and the bleachers above us are public property. They are free to sit there if they want. The kids looked confused at my cousin. Turns out, their parents had lied to them that the shop owner didn't let them sit and watch the match because their parents wanted to roam about and not watch. The kids left shortly after. It was really sad because one of the teams playing is from an island and they came here to have the match. And their parents just abandoned them there to roam the city. TL/dr. Epsly about not being allowed on public property so they don't have to watch their kids' beach volley match. Karen lets her son stomp a stingray to death. Yeah. So basically, we were at the beach, and behind our hotel there was a little bay area where there was a dock meant for only room owners at our hotel, so my family and I went fishing on that dock. So across the little bay area there were some reeds and a sandbank, and on that bank we saw these high school age kids around like 11th grade across the bay fishing. So they catch a fish and are debating whether to keep it to eat or not, and they decided to keep it to eat. So instead of killing it humanely with the knife they've been playing with, they just let it suffocate outside of water. So we were pretty bothered by this already, and about an hour later, the whole time they were fishing they were casting over us, and overall making it an unenjoyable trip. They catch a stingray, and this is where the stupid Karen comes in. So she runs down the dock, which she shouldn't even be on, and she starts asking what they caught, and we say well they caught a stingray, we caught one yesterday. Not exactly what you want to catch, we said this in a joking manner, because the one we caught nearly stung my dad. Then the stupid Karen says well I think it's pretty thrilling to catch anything actually, like we knew nothing about fishing. My dad fishes based tournaments at our local lakes, and then starts telling her son and his idiot friend to kill it. We said well maybe they should just cut the line and let it go free, like we did the day before. She said well they were actually going to use it as bait. Yeah right. How are you gonna freaking throw a 3-pound stingray on a rod like that and catch anything? And anyway, they decide that instead of maybe killing it with the knife they were playing with earlier, they are just going to stomp on the poor thing's head to use it for bait. All the while the Karen was cheering them on and laughing. She and her posse of Karen friends and 12-year-old daughter crowded the dock and made us unable to fish anymore. So we left to get more bait, and when we left my dad yelled out of the car see ya Karen, and she didn't hear us, but the daughter smiled. I had my GoPro strapped on my chest and man I wish I was recording this crap but I wasn't, but needless to say, these dummies ticked us off. Thanks for reading. Entitled Mother Gets Told Off by Choir Director L. Hey there. So I've been sorting through some of my childhood trauma and felt like this needed to be here. The entitled mother, in this case, is my own mother. I don't think she was always terrible, but she definitely has her issues. Cast, entitled mother, my mom, CD, choir director me, and a couple of my friends. Plus my entire high school choir. A bit of backstory, in my junior year of high school my choir auditioned to be one of the 3 choirs selected to sing at Carnegie Hall in New York City for a 9/11 tribute/memorial thing. We made it in, and took the trip in the fall of my senior year. The day we flew out was the same day as an all-state audition, and so a few of the choir members, myself included, and my director stayed behind, and took a later flight than the rest of the choir and all the chaperones. My mom was on the earlier flight as she was a chaperone. On to the story. My group landed in New York City and met up with the larger group at our hotel. The first thing that happened was that my friends who had signed up to room with me and my mom, F1 and F2, came to me and told me that my mom had been cussing at people all day. This is significant because my CD hates cussing from anyone. So my CD finds out from another student and asks me to talk to my mom because she had a lot of other things to deal with at the time. I managed to say something, but my mom brushed me off saying that people get offended way too easily. I'm slightly worried, but hopeful that she'll stop. Before we went up to our rooms we went sightseeing for a bit and then came back to the hotel to sleep. We had a long rehearsal the next day, so it was very important that we sleep. Me, F1, F2 and my mom get to our room. My mom had been up earlier with our luggage, but was just quickly in and out. She hadn't noticed that a window had been left open. The beds were wet and there was some mold. No big deal, the mattresses were dry. We could just call the front desk for new sheets and deal with the mold as we were only there for 3 days anyway. My mom accepted this and called the desk. They offered us a new room free of charge because of the mold. All of the negotiations and stuff took a bit of time because it was late and there weren't many people working at that time, so by the time we packed up and got to our new room it was almost 2 AM. We had to be up at 6 to get ready for rehearsal, so me and my friends were just ready to sleep. This is where the M comes out of my mom. The new room was a bit smaller than our last one. No big deal, right? It was a free switch and didn't have any mold. Nope. My mom was furious that the hotel had transferred us to a smaller room. My friends were exhausted and fell asleep anyway, while my mom called my stepdad, who was not with us on the trip, and told him to call the front desk of our hotel and make them move us to one of the newly renovated rooms. So he did. It took a couple more hours though, and soon we were in yet another room. We had 2 hours until we needed to be awake and none of us were happy. Several other things happened on this trip. My mom threw a fit at the 9/11 museum because I was hungry and wanted to go with a different group while she stayed and looked around. She wanted me to stay because she held me while it happened and wanted to relive it with me. Keep in mind we had already been there for an hour and had been in rehearsal all day. She also kept losing track of the students in our group. One of the girls would run off to be in her boyfriend's group, and I was the one that had to keep track of everyone because she couldn't. And she was still cussing through the whole trip. Finally, we were getting off the buses at the airport to go home, and my mom said one last cuss word. Right behind my CD. My CD, who is usually a very quiet person, whipped around, pointed at my mom, and said don't ever curse in front of my students again. My CD turned back around and ushered us all inside. My mom was trying to laugh it off, saying things like what's her problem and I wonder who peed in her Cheerios this morning. I kept telling her to stop and eventually just gave up. We traveled back in the same groups we came with, so I was in the plane with my CD and M was on a different plane. My CD pulled me aside and apologized for berating my mom in front of my peers. I told her it was fine and that I had to deal with it a lot, so it was nice to see someone stand up to her. I was asked to never bring her on school trips again. And that's my story. I'll probably have more as I sort through all of my past experiences, but yeah. Thanks for sticking around this far. TLDR, my mom cusses too much on a school field trip and my choir director yells at her for it. My entitled mom thinks she can tell my sister what to do with her body. Hey guys, I've heard that a lot of you want to read more about me protecting my sister's rights from our mother. So here we are. First, you may want a bit of context, but you can skip it if you want. My homophobic, racist and addicted to alcohol and cigarettes mom used to physically and verbally/emotionally abuse me as a child, but since I'm an adult she can't get to me as much as she used to. But she continues to verbally and emotionally hurt my little sister. Her actions toward her family caused my father to divorce her and leave the house. Apparently, my mom mistreated my dad the same way she did and still does to us. I recently started a rebellion against her. I aim to protect my sisters and our rights and freedom as human beings. It happened an hour ago. Before we get started, meet the cast. Me equals looks like it's me. IB equals insensitive birther. I have to call my mom. DS equals desperate sister. DS and I were sitting on the couch, minding our own business, and having a conversation about the new haircut DS wants to have. Her new haircut is an important part of her gender identity, because she wants to come out of the closet as gender non-conforming, the same way I did. I don't use they/them pronoun for DS, because she told me she doesn't want to change her pronouns for now. As the conversation goes by, DS shows me a picture of the haircut she wants. I tell her it will undoubtedly look amazing on her. It really will. This is where IB chooses to interact with us. IB, what do you mean, getting a haircut? Me, Mom, DS already talked to you about getting a new haircut. Why do you seem so surprised to hear about it? DS, look what I wanna get next August. She shows her the picture excitedly, a proud smile on her face. IB's face becomes suddenly red and a look of disgust and anger appears in her eyes. IB, oh no. Not that, absolutely not. You won't be getting that. You should have a longer haircut, but not that. It's too short, look at that. I don't want NTTH at FOIOU. DS's smile vanishes. Now she looks sad. So sad. God, I just couldn't stand it. Then she turned to me with that same face. Her deep blue eyes screamed help me. She's yelling at me now, and I don't know what I did wrong today. I saw myself in her eyes. I was in the same position as her. When I was a minor I thought I was her property. I couldn't have an opinion. I couldn't be who I wanted to be because I thought she owned my body. I remember how depressed I was, how desperate I was in the closet. I had nobody to turn to, but DS does. Because DS has me now. A bucket of rage and injustice fell on me, like it weighted the world. I forced the bucket into me to stain me. I kept calm and I reacted. I'm going to use the power I have as an adult to counter Ibe's own abuse of power. Me, hey, why are you judging a person's choice of haircut? It's not like it will be your hair that's going to get chopped, you know. Ibe is already fuming. She hates it when someone disagree with her. Ibe, well, DS a minor, and I said she can't have that haircut because it's too short for her. It's not actually her real excuse. She just doesn't want to have another child that doesn't conform to the gender Ibe chose for DS. LGBTQ phobic, you know. Me, I'm an adult too, and I say that it's not right to choose what DS has to do with her hair instead of herself. It's her body, not yours. Ibe, I'm still the adult, and I do what I want to my daughter. The conversation isn't really a conversation at that point. Ibe is screaming while I'm talking. DS is watching, incredulous. I still can see the look of hurt from the last time she looked at me. But I can tell she wants to try to stand up for herself. So I decided to include her in. Me, and you think it's right? If I take your words I can do what I want to my daughter, does that mean you will rape her if you want to? And I'm going to stop you before you respond, because I know your answer already, it's no. So, do you think it's okay to treat DS more like an object you own than an actual teenager, your child? Ibe tries to speak yell, but I can't afford to let her cut me off with her bullshit, so I continue. Me, about that, have you seen DS's face while she was showing her the picture? She was so proud, she wanted you to see it. She wanted you to support her, and yet you start lecturing DS. You basically tell her she can't think for herself, have a different opinion than you, and on top of that you tell DS you own her. DS, tell your mom what you think about this situation. DS's voice isn't as strong as mine, but she says, I think it is unfair for me. I think I matter enough as a human to control my body and look the way I want to be. I want to be treated like a future adult and learn to make decisions by myself. And that was the last straw for Ibe. She storms off, yelling in the process, I'm going for a smoke and a drink. Not gonna lie, I feel so proud of myself for what I did. I think it was the right to do. And it was the first DS was able to speak for herself. I'm a proud sibling, guys. My baby sister nearly dies. Reason is an entitled mother. This is a repost as the previous post got deleted, so don't be confused. So I'm from India and English isn't my first language, so let's head to the cast. The cast entitled Mother NK Nice Kid Poo Poor Uncle Mimi Manuscript. My baby sister, Eria. My baby sister was born 1.5 months before pregnancy and had a lung problem called bronchopulmonary dysplasia, and she had problem in breathing for extensive period. We have a nurse living with us for her. My family have a rare kind of Karen who being poor acts like a rich person and always irritate other people with her lifestyle stories. She once tried to buy a 60k car by her husband's account a day after her husband's mother's death. But my uncle was in a poor state and cancelled the car and didn't say anything. She has done the same thing with several purses, shoes, cosmetics, etc. Despite the fact that my uncle makes 16 hours. And she doesn't work, living in a 10 people family. That poor guy's also working weekend jobs at fast food joints, just to chip in more. So my sister's first birthday came, and we had a party. Do mind, our side of the family makes a lot of money thanks to my grandfather and my father's hard work, and planned a grand pool party. Eria was in the house, while we partied outside with low music, so that she doesn't get scared and cry. The entitled mother came with NK and poo. She was mind-blowing crazy, shouting loudly after being called to stop several times. She was vegan, but we all were not, so she sat inside. The nurse brought Eria for a night bathe. Her towel was lying on the kitchen table which M was using as a tissue, so during Aria's bath, the nurse called for someone, and M came to her. The nurse told her that she was going to bring a towel, so if she could just take care of her, it'll be appreciated. The nurse went to Aria's room to get her a towel. The M mysteriously wanted more food. Crazy women couldn't have waited for a few minutes and left Aria in her tub and went to grab some food. The nurse couldn't find any towels, so she went outside to ask my mother, as she is the one who washes the laundry. She went to my mother, and while asking her, she spotted my M, and the convo went as follow: Nurse, hey, what are you doing here? Who is with Aria? M: oh sorry, I just came here to grab some food. Nurse: so who is there with Aria? At this point her wristband connected to Aria's baby breathing monitoring band started vibrating. MUHH, I couldn't find anyone. It has not been so long. She is 1 year old. She doesn't need someone for a bath. I was serving her food. I threw her plate as I saw the nurse running inside, and I came inside to see Aria coughing and slapping with her head, mostly in water. I called an ambulance while she gave blows on her back and gave her chest compressions. The ambulance came and loaded Aria while I, the nurse, and many other guests were crying. My father and Pooh went to the hospital while NK cried loudly while saying sorry and was so scared. M was making confused faces all around the party. My mother was sitting on the bench crying her eyes out when M came to her and asked what happened. I just finished my food inside. I heard an ambulance. Is NK and Pooh okay? My mother was trying to hit her, but me and other guests were trying to stop her. Everyone was so disgusted at her that they didn't even utter a word. After that a lot of things happened which I cut to a shorter form. We put charges on her. She lost. Pooh and M got divorce. Pooh got the custody. IDK about the charges, but she got a lot of years in jail plus a lot of community service. That included the money she stole from Pooh's account. You might think, what happened to Aria? She is now 7, disease free, and we all are grateful for it. Pooh got a better job and NK and I are good friends. Well, a good end is what matters. Edit: M was to hold her whilst she was sleeping. Don't take that last ramen. They belong to me. M: hey Edit. I wanted to post this incident so others could have some laugh with me. BTW, I translated this whole conversation, so if some stuff sounds odd please forgive me. Now on to the story. I went with my mom and little sister to buy some stuff: gloves, hand sanitizers, masks, and some ingredients for my mom's cooking. It was regular, with the coronavirus and everything. We entered the store and almost a lot of the shelves are almost empty, but we did find all what needed. So, I thought I could get some Indomie ramen. I don't know if any other countries have it, and lucky for me, I found one last big Indomie ramen pack, vegetables flavor, so I thought I was really lucky cause it's my favorite. As I reached my hand to take the last it, I hear someone yelling, "Hey! You! Don't take my noodles!" I looked behind me, and lo and behold, an entitled Karen joined the server. I grabbed the ramen and looked at her, questioning, "Your noodles?" M: yes, you have a problem? Me: yes, I got this ramen, it's mine. M: why do you want it anyway? 18 are now adults, you don't need it. BTW, I think she thought I was 18 cause I have a small beard. Me: I'm almost 17, cow. M: what did you call me? Me: besides, what makes you think you will take this off my hands? I wouldn't do it if I were you. M: are you threatening me? Me: I'm warning. For your own good. I try to back off, but I bump into someone behind me. Me: oh, sorry, I was in a hurry. Turns out, this man is M's kid. M: ah. Eck. Help, this donkey stole that noodle packet from me. Eck, give it back. BTW, this kid is almost at my size, so I'll assume he's 17 to 18. Me: I didn't steal it, this lady tried to take it from me. Eck, are you calling my mother a liar? Me: apparently. Eck then proceeds to try and punch me right on my face. I dodged it. Me: what's up with you? Then this dude launches at me trying to hit me, yet I dodge them. I then kick him in the balls. Eck, screams like a horror game ghost, yes. That's how loud he screamed. Then an employee came, probably from the scream, and from this point onwards, we'll call him nice employee N.E. What happened? Me, these two are trying to beat me for the Indomie, that I got to it first. N.E. Is this true? M and Eck, no. He stole from us. Not exactly what they said, but what I understood them saying cause they were yelling a lot, my ears were hurting. N.E. I'm going to check security cameras. Stay here. It was the first time I see people get pale and so scared. At this point, my mother comes to the noodle/ramen aisle. What happened? Are you okay? Me, I'm fine mom. It's only these two were trying to beat me up for the Indomie. He's your son? You have to teach him manners. He stole from us. What kind of mother are you to let him do that? Me, angry cause this cow was talking to my mom like that, a better mom than you. If you think you're above her then you should probably go to a mental hospital. Eck, don't talk to my mother like that. Who do you think you are? I cut him off. You grow up instead of following your mother. You're way out of your league to even fight me. Both M and Eck stopped talking. Stay calm. I'll handle them. Then my mom starts chewing them out harder than a teacher. N.E. came back with security. Ma'am, you're leaving. You disturbed paying customers. But. N.E. out. Security escorted M and Eck out of the store. N.E. then apologized for what happened. I assured him that it is not his fault. We got home with all what we bought, and I ate one bowl of ramen when I got home. Oh, and also. Eck or if any of you are reading this, I feel bad for your family if they have to deal with you both. Entitled Grandma tells my sister and I to help with yard work, yells at us an hour later. Yesterday, my dad asked me to go rake the leaves in our driveway and pull out some weeds. This made me remember a similar encounter I had with my grandma, my dad's mother, a few years ago. So my grandma is overall a very nice person, but my sister and I can agree that she can be very unpleasant if she gets angry, and she can get angry pretty easy. So on the day of the story, my grandma was in town, and she told us to go help her with similar tasks as I listed earlier. We get out to our driveway, and after a few minutes of work we realize she isn't really helping. My sister and I discuss this quietly, and move on. Fast forward about an hour. The work seems to be about done. We ask my grandma if we can go inside. She says that there is still a lot to do. We ask what there is, and she points out a few more leaves to rake and a few more weeds to pull. Okay, there is more work, but nothing my sister or I would say is a lot. Now this was where we made a mistake. What we should done is finish the job. What we did is ask if we could go inside to eat lunch or get water and then come back and finish. That does it. My grandma yells stop bitching and moaning all the damn time. Needless to say, we finish the job and head inside, and the mood is sour for the rest of her stay with us. Tries to pop our rubber swimming pool just because we didn't let her in, because blue is not for girls. Hi guys, new here and already have a lot of entitled people stories, so for some backstory, I'm a 16-year-old that lives in a small town in Canada, and we live in a neighborhood with a lot of friendly people except for a few of our neighbors maybe. So this happened about 2 years ago and I remember it so vividly. We bought a blue rubber swimming pool online and we never even got to put it up, let alone put water in it. So 3 weeks later we decided to set it up. Fast forward 6 days, and I was in the pool chilling when suddenly I hear Eck, "Mommy, there is a girl in that swimming pool and it's color blue and blue is not for girls," and us being the only people in the neighborhood with a swimming pool, I knew I was in trouble. So I tried as hard as possible to get out of the pool without making a sound, but all thanks to me tripping and falling backwards into the pool, caught the attention of the She goes to the gate that separates the two houses, and tells me "Hey can my son take a dip into your pool? He really likes it." And I replied with me, "Sorry ma'am, but first you need to ask my parents, and second no sorry," then go stomping back into her house. and I thought it was over, only to come back out with a pair of scissors in hand. I call my parents and siblings to help pull the pool away from the gate, and my dad goes to the M and say, "Dad, hey, are you effing crazy M? Your daughter is splashing all over the place and is getting our yard sloppy and wet." Ugh me. "No, that's not true." I get cut off. "Oh, would you look at my lawn? Now if you would like to say sorry, then you would give me your pool." Keep in mind that she said that while my dad, mom, and sisters were there as well. "Dad, what the F, woman, it's just water. If my daughter really did splash on your yard, then I'll have to check the CCTV camera." He walks into the house to get his phone. Later on he comes back and shows the part where I accidentally fell. "See, Dad, fine, we will discuss this in the house." Now I wasn't here at this part, but called the attention of my mom and told her, "You know what I'm saying? You have 3 beautiful children and all are girls, right? And we both know that you would not allow your girls to become a, well, you know." Mom takes the mug she had, took water from the pool, splashing the neighbor, then returns to the house before laughing till she cried. But after she did that, we went out and the woman was missing, and we were all relieved. Thanks for listening or reading. Your guinea pig looks sad/scared, so I'm taking him with me. Just like the title says, an entitled shitstin tried to take my guinea pig because she thinks that it looked scared/sad. Now before I go into detail, I wonder why a small animal would be scared of a loud, drunk and obnoxious idiot barging into my home. So currently 11 PM at the time of this post, and it's hot as fuck in the UK, and I'm just about to try to go to sleep, but lo and behold, a drunk, idiotic, obnoxious brain-dead moron comes barging into my home and starts talking shit about me, my dad and my younger brothers. For those who catch on quickly, I'm indeed talking about my mom, who I've blacklisted out of my life, who thinks the world revolves around her and has a hissy fit whenever someone proves her wrong. She starts sobbing and crying, saying, "Lunatic. Nobody loves me. Why does nobody love me?" To which I explain to her, "You're an abusive drunk. You're cruel and vindictive. You talk shit about your own fucking kids and then start to wonder why nobody in your family loves you." She tries to bullshit her way out of it, saying, "Oh, I don't mean it. I only say those things when I'm drunk." She doesn't. So as I'm tired, pissed off and done with her, I tell her she can either get out on her own or I'll call the cops to get her out. She reluctantly does so, but when she walks past my living room and sees my guinea pig curled up next to a frozen water bottle, she goes, "Oh, look at your little boy." He looks so sad. At this point I walk to the door and order her out, much more aggressive, to try and get it through to her head that she has to leave. When she walks up, she goes, "Fine. I'll fucking leave. But I'm taking your guinea pig with me." It looks sad and scared, to which I grab the guinea pig out of her hands and shove her out, locking the door behind me with her going, "How dare you? I'm your mother. I demand you give me your guinea pig so I can look after it." She's still screaming her head off whilst I'm now stuck wide awake in this dreadful heat, calming and soothing my guinea pig, and she wonders why I want to get a restraining order against her. Edit. Thank you all for the comments about my guinea pig. I'd reply to each of them, but it'd take some time to get to them all. The fluffy guy appreciates your love and care, and to those suggesting I get a restraining order, I'm probably going to get one sometime soon. Edit 2. For those wanting pet tax, here's a link to a post that shows the guinea pig. https://www.reddit.com/r/guinea pig/comment/chubby_chubby_1_r_wish_or_er_very/edit 3. Holy hell. I wasn't expecting this post to blow up. Thanks for the golds and the awards and everything. Thank you all again for the comments about my guinea pig's health and safety. He's doing fine and keeping cool, thanks to water bottles and other frozen bottle-like objects scattered around his cage with some vigors here and there, because he's the goodest of boys and deserves them. Steals my self-started college fund for sister's birthday. Also, whole growing up I found myself having a horde of entitled parents, step and otherwise. My mom was great most times, but still felt entitled to my stuff as I was her kid. On to the story. When I was a kid, after my twin brother got diagnosed with cancer, I became obsessed with saving money for my future. I figured if only one of us got to have one, I'd have to make it awesome enough for the both of us. He's in remission for 10 years next month, but at the time I didn't know he'd live. This meant every holiday on I found myself saving all the money I got because I was going to go to Harvard. I was going to have an awesome career and zero student debt. I'd also mow lawns, weed gardens, as well as tutor and babysit kids when I got old enough. At the point this story happened, I had a happy 10k saves up, not enough for all of college, but only 3,000 less than my total loans for college. I was also not allowed a bank account because of my age and no one wanted on one with me. This meant I had roughly 10,000 inches, $100. I'd trade smaller bills with my mom in my closet in a shoebox. My mom had my sister when I was 14, and she was born very early, 27 weeks, and spent most of her first year in and out of hospitals. So my mom has dedicated her life to making my sister's life the best it can be. One day shortly after my sister was born, my mom asked if she could borrow some money as they would be short on rent that month due to my mom and stepdad being at the hospital so much and having their savings depleted. I made her promise to pay me back and handed her $500 from the box and told her to put it back in said box when she was to pay me back. I checked 2 months later and she had paid me back. Cool. Then my sister's birthday rolled around. It was an amazing feat that she had made it to 1 year. My mom was ready to have a huge party. She rented out an entire aquarium because my little sister loved Ariel. She got my sister a custom-made dress that looked like Ariel's pink one from the movie, huge cake from the best local bakery, tower of presents, the whole 9 yards. Near the end of the party she announced that she had taken notes from my thrifty saving and had started my sister a high-interest savings account with $1,000 at the moment, so when she turned 18 she'd be set. She also informed family members that any money she received as a gift today would go there. We weren't wealthy by any means, so I figured that my stepdad's parents, wealthy old money, had paid for all this. I was 15 at the time this happened, and with a permit from school I was able to get a part-time job. I went to put my first check in my shoebox, and I had noticed it only had one envelope in it vs the 10 I had. I opened it up expecting to count $1,000, but it was only $374, showing whoever took it had the foresight to put back what they didn't use. I had an absolute panic attack, like fell to the ground screaming / hyperventilating, crying, unable to speak. Panic. That's when my brother came in. He wasn't sure what to do, so he got my mom. She got down on my level and soothed me to where I was able to communicate anything she asked. What happened? And here's the exchange. Roughly EM equals mom, ME equals me, TB equals twin brother M. Now what happened? Everyone is alright. Are you okay? Me robbed. We got robbed. M. What do you mean, honey? I stared, crying again, and said I only have $300. I noticed my mom become slightly less comforting, and her tone became slightly nervous. M. $300? Did you take it? She was referring to my brother TB. No. Why would I steal from Op? I didn't even know she had money. M. Well, Op, I'm sure you lost it. Number 15-year-old needs $10k anyways. We'll get you a bank account. That way this won't happen again. Me, I didn't lose it. M. Well, you must have thrown it away then or something. That's when it suddenly clicked how my sister had such an awesome party. Me, Mom, please tell me that you didn't take it for sister's birthday. My mom got defensive and started talking like, and this is the best way to describe it, a guilty Danganronpa character during the rhythm minigame. Mom, I would never. What would I even use it for? Your sister has had a hard life. You would be lucky if that's where your money went. You even got the money from US, only part of it, but whatever. I remember distinctly putting $500 in your stupid box. TB, oh my god. Mom's a thief. I'm not the thief. I've given everything so you kids can have the best lives. I was at the hospital every night with you. I shaved your head when your hair started falling out. This continued and would be a lot of typing, but you get the gist. Me, Mom, you gave me that money because you guys didn't have rent. TB that's fu MTB out. This is between op and I woman to woman. She pushed my brother out and locked the door behind him. Sweetie, one day when you become a mom you'll understand that you'd do anything for your kids. When God gives you 2 sick kids who get better you want to celebrate them. Don't you want your sister to have a good time? Doesn't she deserve to go to college one day? You're so smart and strong you don't need help like the other 2. You'll probably get a full ride anyway. I was in tears and too shaken up to talk. I just sobbed in the fetal position. She continued to talk at me for a while, but I don't remember much other than waking up there for school the next day with my comforter on me and TB sleeping in my bed with his blanket pillow. I never got any money back, but after buying a small safe with that paycheck instead, saved up more and worked 2 jobs when I was 16 so I could have money. I ended up with about $5,000 after having to pay for my own car and insurance to get to and from work and a few other things. No. Thanks for watching this audiobook kinda. I'm going to do this mostly this week to see how it goes, and then I would be doing these every week. I will make a gaming video tomorrow. I did this video because I didn't do a Reddit video for 3 weeks